What's going on, folks? I am Goat. Welcome back to Warframe. So, trudging forward, we have Sevagoth Prime. I will say, just from the appearance sake, since we all know the running joke of Fashion Frame is endgame, I love the skin on Sevagoth Prime, but this fucking helmet, I am just, at least not as of right now, not a fan of. He's got like the Derrick Henry freaking dookie braid sticking out the back, and then it's like some weird Captain Barbossa looking fucking hat. It's not the worst. Like, Hildren Prime's still kind of holding everybody up on that one as far as ugliest fucking helmet, but here we are. Personally, this is more the appearance I've been going for, and I didn't used to like this helmet, but it actually looks pretty damn good with Sevagoth. And the funny part is the way this Prime skin looks. Really, just a Sandana for me did the job. Like, it just looks solid. So, just my opinion. But we're here to look at the frame. Nautilus Prime is Nautilus Prime. It's just a fancy looking Nautilus, okay? It just kind of is what it is. We're going to talk about the versatility of Sevagoth, because I have been a big Sevagoth fan for a minute. I've spoken about it repeatedly. I am just like, Sevagoth has had his problems, and with, you know, the release of Archon shards and a couple of augment mods, Sevagoth just continues to be this frame that is like getting better and better and better as he goes. Now, what I'm talking about specifically is if you don't use his damn shadow. If you use his shadow, you do you. I'm certainly not going to knock you. I do understand it, because the shadow can be fun, but the shadow is kind of an unfortunate side thought of what Sevagoth actually does. So I've got a few different builds that we're going to look at. I've got one that was basically a lot like my old build with a couple of minor modifications. The shards are literally identical from what my old Sevagoth setup was, as far as my most recent base Sevagoth setup before Prime came out. And then we're going to look at a couple of other options. Now, I've seen people talking about using like grouping abilities, because it has a very interesting function with his augment mods. Personally, I kind of like damage output and energy regen buffs from Nourish, but I've also seen people using Roar to great effect. Probably for overall KPM, Roar is probably going to be your best bet if you're just looking for a really high kill count, because tested, this motherfucker kills almost as good as Saren in a very, very different way, but this motherfucker actually can really do some damage output. So shards are very simply health. We've got ability strength. We got a Tau Forge Violet and then a regular Violet, which the base Crimson and the base Violet are both going to end up being Tau Forge before it's all said and done. Just not right now because I don't have them. So it is what it is. But built. And the names are loose, so we're just going to go through them. So this is what I've been having the most fun with. Okay, with Sevagoth coming out and him having a true neutral aura, an aura forma is kind of a necessity to really kind of get what you want. As far as if you're going for point value, Steel Charge is definitely not the necessity, but then again, the way the build is done and the polarizations that I had done from the beginning put me in a spot to where Steel Charge works just fine. Growing Power is probably a really, really good option, truthfully. But this is a just pure energy salvaging build that still has some pretty interesting applications for damage output and survivability. And yeah, 2 of the 4 forma in here are Umbra forma. Yes, they are. Do they need to be? No. The next build. Again, we're seeing Shadow Haze Dark Propagation. We're going to go into that. Arcane Energize, Arcane Blessing. Reason being is because we've gotten rid of Umbral Vitality, so we're making up for that health loss that you can stack up with Umbral Vitality by using Arcane Blessing and getting an additional 1200 health. It's going to put you just short of like 1800, okay, because you get 1200 health once that stacks up. As long as you're using Synth Deconstruct on your companion or your, you know, whatever your extra item is. Personally, I'm going to definitely recommend Death Cube for this, just for energy purposes. Arcane Blessing is a really, really good saver no matter what you do. And you might think, why would you run less efficiency? Or, I'm sorry, less duration? And the funny thing is this. Okay, so what we have here is, so dark propagation is the so augment. Enemies killed while inflicted with the so spread its effect 50 in a 15-meter radius. Now, it doesn't seem like it's working right, because it just seems like it's like 15-meter radius of you. I don't know if it's a bug or not. I mean, maybe it's meant to do this. I don't know. But like, if they die, you know, then it spreads to the next poor motherfucker that may have just run up into the group. I don't know. But it's cool because it helps affect more people for Shadow Haze to really get kicking. So Reap Augment, increased critical chance by 50% on enemies afflicted by Death Harvest / so. A new shadow will basically emerge from those enemies when they perish. Limit of 3 potential shadows roaming about killing motherfuckers. It's a good time. What this means, though, excuse me, is that the duration of these shadows flying about is basically, the longer they go, the more funky it seems to get. So you really actually don't want these shadows running around horribly long, because it just doesn't work as good. It's hard to put into words exactly why that is. So yeah, but I mean, we've, you know, by this particular build, the ability strength buffs the shit out of the critical chance on the shadows. So they do a pretty good level of work with this setup, and this build works exceptionally fucking good. You've got efficiency, you've got a decent amount of range, you've got plenty of energy, you've got adaptation, transient fortitude to help kind of actually null that duration down. I was messing around with doing even more duration with something like narrow-minded, and I found out really quick that it gets real goofy. The shadows get really goofy. So then we can turn around and we can still use Umbral Vitality, but we can also use Arcane Blessings. So now we're going to get up into the 2200 range of health almost. And similar build to the whole shebang. Now, the last build is just something I was kind of dicking around. I wasn't even using Nourish. Sacrificing a little bit of range to get a little bit more ability strength. Sacrificing efficiency, but we do have Arcane Energize plus the 2 Equilibrium Shards. So losing energy on this build is just not a big problem. And instead going with Energy Siphon, hence why Cunning Drift is down just a little bit lower. So that's that. And then the last one is really more what my old build used to be. Except that I had Stretch on here instead of Dark Propagation. That is literally, as far as I can remember, the only change that I've got on this build from my original one. Since Shadow Haze came out, I should say. My original build was Stretch and Augur Reach, which had me at a fuck ton of range. And again, even at 128% duration, it works, but it's a little goofy. But doing Blessing and Molt Augmented together, then you get health plus you get ability strength stacked back up. We're talking 60%. So now we're, you know, 235% ability strength, which guess what? That's where we are with this build, which does a lot of killing. So, you know, like this build in particular works very, very, very well. The only hiccup is like Prime Continuity would probably be the one thing that you want to ditch in lieu of using something else. You know, like you could use Augur Secrets there. You could use, you know, Augur Reach if you wanted to. There's some options. I mean, hell, you could drop Cunning Drift down into there and then stick something else in the Axillus, like Power Drift or, what was the other one? I was saying not coaction. Like it's something like Endurance Drift, honestly. Some more parkour velocity is actually really good with Sevagoth because he is a little bit slow. But that's really that. But we're going to use this particular build that I've been having fun with. So, and just to cover exactly what we're looking at as far as Sevagoth versus Sevagoth Prime, is just by base stats, not much change. Got a little bit more shields, a little bit more armor, a little bit more energy. Now, the energy now caps out at like 641, if I remember correctly. So that's a nice little thing that Sevagoth has actually been wanting, but really no major changes except for, you know, just some radical appearance changes. Now, what we did get some changes in was the Epitaph. Now, the Epitaph Prime, they still both have the same charge time. The Epitaph Prime has a 0.25 second faster fire rate. It's got 2% more critical chance on the radial quick shot. It's got 0.6% more critical multiplier on the front side of the gun. The quick, the radial attack has 2 meters further. It's doing 10 points more of blast damage, which is totally fine. And then we're at 2% more critical chance, a 0.4% critical, or a 0.4 times more on the critical multiplier, and 10% more status chance. So, I mean, you want to talk about this thing already being a good primer and a good killer? Yeah, the Epitaph has gotten better with the prime version. And funny enough, like, I was using the Grimoire with original Sevagoth, and now I'm using the Epitaph Prime because not just because it's good, but it's actually a really good priming weapon to kind of let the shadows really do the dirty work. So yeah. So let's just go show this crazy bastard off, and please forgive, I got an invigoration for Sevagoth without even fucking thinking about it. And yeah, like I was testing Kuva Fortress last night. I mean, fuck it. You know what? Let's just go back to the Kuva Fortress. I don't usually like testing here, but honestly, they're very high armor, very angry little enemies anyway. And so, like, the gameplay behind this is very simple. Basically, get your energy up. If you don't want to be so reliant on energy drops, just start yourself off kind of like I do. Just a little knucklehead energy pizza, especially if you're doing long-term missions.
Draw them out, then steal their Kuva catalysts.
And just kind of get after it. Cool.
Predictable. As expected, Grineer have shut down the environmental systems, sending modified life support capsules. Use these to sustain your environment or attach Kuva catalysts to begin harvesting.
It's just kind of good night. So the whole kick comes down to you need people to be, because you hear that big whoosh after the fact. That's the shadows basically annihilating some poor bastard. So anybody who's not in the range who hasn't been affected with you basically just recast let the shadows kind of do their work, and then just watch them fucking die, man. I mean, it's like once they've taken an instance of damage, they just don't enjoy their lives. I mean, as far as, like, you know, how good the Epitaph can be, I mean, it's pretty damn solid.
Get ready for a capsule.
As you see, we're having like 0 energy problems here. Between Arcane Energize and then, you know, the Archon Charge, it's just not a problem.
Life support capsule to the area.
And just, yeah.
Activating it will buy you more time.
People just, like, do it. Boom, he died. No, bud. It's like, I'm already at 213 kills. Is this, like, the best build out there? Probably not. But does it kill a lot of shit, including overguarded enemies? Yes. Absolutely it does. Sometimes it's not immediate. Sometimes you need to prime them. Sometimes they just fucking die. It really just kind of depends on how many instances of just true damage they've taken. So, like, there you go. There's one more. Excuse me. But overguarded guy dead. I mean, bye. Sorry about your dad.
I've delivered another life support capsule.
Fucking die, stupid. Just because he was irritating me. And yeah, something like if you have prime sure-footed, definitely not a bad option. Oh, goody goody. If it's been like every other test, oh, okay, it's actually Malice. That's okay. Hi, Malice. There's just so much damage vulnerability built up with this. Look, you want to die now, huh? Okay. And yeah, like I could let the shadows just come in here and put in more work. That's fine. I'm just kind of impatient, and honestly, like energy isn't the concern here. So, hey, bud.
Additional life support has arrived.
I mean, like, it just happens. Like, what are we, 440 in? We're 440 kills. I mean, he's an easy, and I do mean an easy 100 kpm, frame. And that's this nonsense, just absolutely screwing around. I'm not making a realistic effort. I'm just kind of jumping around and being a dickhead, so.
Successful start. When you need it, extraction is ready.
Really? Here, time. Fuck you. Fuck you. How you doing, bud? Here, just guys. About that? Yeah. That damage vulnerability is a fucking thing. Okay, look, guys, seriously, can you just fuck yourselves? Yeah. Can I just get to extraction? That'd be great. So,
what you have learned here will serve.
Do you want to believe now that Sevagoth is good? Because even before his augments, I thought Sevagoth was fun, but this is completely screwing around. I mean, like, if I was making a concerted effort to chase enemies down, I can easily hit a 120 kpm with them without question. Like, I'm just jogging around waiting for them to come to me, and I was, just barely under, 100, and I know it says 616, but, the last minute of that was me just getting stuck on everything. But Sevagoth, I mean, especially with his augments, but Sevagoth in itself is just really fun, So Sevagoth Prime is still, guess what, really fun. And the Epitaph went from being something really good to still really fucking good. So that's what I got for now. So folks, I want to thank you very much for watching, and for anybody who sent me private messages about my my family situation, I do greatly appreciate that. It has not gotten lost in the minutia of the craziness. Just, I lost my brother, so, dealing with all of that. So I do want to thank you very much for watching. As always, we'll catch you in the next one, okay?